Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about homeschool curriculum, how to pick homeschool curriculum, some things that I have learned in the going on 7 years. This is my 7th year, a cumulative 7 years. If you know the backstory, you know how that goes, but this is my 7th year of picking out curriculum for my kids. And I just want to share some stuff with you that will help you. This is mainly for kind of beginners. I am not an expert by any means. There are many homeschool moms that you can find here on YouTube that have been doing this way longer than I have, and have a lot more experience and can give you more insight. But I'm coming from a perspective of like, you have no idea what you're doing. And you're starting brand new and you have no idea what the terms mean and things like that. So if you are a newbie to the whole homeschool and curriculum thing, hopefully this will help you if you've done this a couple of years. I mean, like I say, I'm on my 7th year and I still watch YouTube videos to try to get some more insight of how to pick curriculum for my kids. As our kids are growing, their learning styles somewhat shift. What they're interested in kind of changes. So the type of curriculum that you use for them might change. And it helps me to watch, YouTube videos. But this is mainly like a homeschool curriculum 101 to help those of you who aren't so familiar with all the homeschool vernacular and all that. So I've got some books here. I pulled out some old stuff, some of the current stuff to kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff I'm talking about. I've got my notes here. There are quite a bit. So how about just, go grab a drink, get comfortable, maybe take some notes. This might be a little bit of a longer video than I'm used to, but just hang in there with me. Hopefully some of this will help you. I'm kind of scattered with it. There is no order whatsoever to my notes. Just scribbled this down as I was thinking it. So we're just going to jump right into it. But real quick before we jump into it, if you are new to my channel and you like this kind of content, like homeschool stuff, I also do some money saving things. We are a homeschool family of 5, 3 kids. We live on one income, so budgeting is part of that and saving money. So if you like kind of lifestyle budgeting, homeschool stuff, how about subscribing, helping me grow the channel? That would be really great. And stick around, maybe check the other playlists and see if there's anything else you're interested in. So let me just jump into it. Choosing curriculum. I would say at the very start, you need to check your state's laws for what you have to, like if there are certain subjects you have to do. Every state is a little bit different. Some states have mandated curriculum, but it doesn't mean that you have to use like a specific book. I have yet to look at any of the states. I've kind of browsed around some of the different states. I haven't looked at all of them. But there are some of the stricter ones who mandate what subjects you have to teach, but they don't mandate what books you choose from to teach those subjects. So it might say you have to teach American history, or you might have to teach some sort of environmental science at a certain grade level, but it doesn't say what book you have to teach that out of. So check your homeschool laws, your state laws, and the best way to do that I know of is to go to hslda.org, hslda.org. I'll put a link in the description. That stands for Homeschool Legal Defense Association, hslda.org. It's a great resource. I go to it all the time to double check myself and to look for different things. And you can go to it and it'll tell you individually. It's got like a little map where you click your state. Go to that website, check what your state's requirements are to help you get an overview of what subjects you need to teach. If there is a mandate on what you have to teach. We are in North Carolina and there's no mandate on what we have to teach. I myself am going by like public school, what North Carolina public schools have to have, or students have to have in order to graduate. I'm not doing it like I'm not copycatting it, but I am trying to keep my kids kind of in line with that so that they are somewhat familiar with what they're supposed to have and they will line up with what they would need if they were going to go to a college in North Carolina. But check your state, see what you have to have, and then I would say kind of do a rough draft. If you're no matter what grade you're doing, you can do a rough draft of the upcoming year. Say you got a rising kindergarten, you're about to start this brand new. You can maybe go ahead and write down, you can put it on a spreadsheet. I've got mine on a spreadsheet. I'm kind of a spreadsheet nerd. You could write on a piece of paper, whatever, but kind of just write out, kindergarten, first grade, whatever you're starting with, if you're high school, whatever, write out each subject, like math, language, science, history, whatever you're wanting to teach, and just do you a rough draft. Like write down what you think you might want to teach, or write down what you have to teach if you have mandated subjects for your grade level for your state. write it down, maybe even go into the next grade, because you'll learn that when you're picking curriculum, that some of it will kind of bleed into the next year. So like maybe you want to start doing some sort of animal science one year, and you want to do a different type of animal science the next year or something, or you want to do animal science this year, and then you want to do like environmental and earth science the next year, and you can just kind of lay it out, like we're going to do this year, then this year, then this the next year. It helps me to do that, to kind of see that I'm not going to miss anything, like we're going to get all of it in there. You can kind of plug it in where you want to, like lay out each grade and each subject and just play around with it, like, well, if I do this year, then I can do this the next year. Just, it doesn't have to be perfect, just something that'll help you see what it is that you need to pick out for the year, to organize your thoughts. Like, I need to do a math and a science and a history and all that. So you can write it down and then fill in the blanks with what subjects you want to teach for those grades and those subjects. All right, so that's the basics of like what you need to pick. Now I'm going to talk about curriculum and some of the terms that you'll run into when you're picking curriculum, and what you need to look out for. This is things that I have found in the years that I have been picking curriculum, and I'll kind of give you my backstory of what I went with in some of these years, and whether it was a good idea or a bad idea. My background, I went to several different private schools throughout my school life. I graduated with a different curriculum than what I went with in like elementary and middle school. I had different curriculums. I went from public school in high school and graduated from a private school high school. So I've used a bunch of different curriculums. And when I started with my daughter, my oldest daughter, I did kindergarten and first grade. The only curriculum that I knew of for elementary age was what I had in elementary age. I knew that the curriculum I graduated from at the school that I graduated from did do elementary, but I wasn't familiar with doing that because I had went into that curriculum at an older age and I didn't do that myself. So I wasn't comfortable with it. I didn't know that I could teach it. So I went with a curriculum that I used, which was Abeka, and it is not necessarily a homeschool curriculum, if that makes sense. I'll explain that in a second. And then I graduated with a totally opposite end of the spectrum type of curriculum. When I mean totally opposite end of the spectrum, let me get into my first thing. Something that you will see is you'll see a term called student-led or parent-led. And that term is kind of, I think, being used differently by different people. So the way that I use that is the curriculum is either taught by the parent or it is kind of student taught, if that makes sense. You either have a teacher book and you read instructions, you read that teacher book, and it's just like when you were in school and your teacher had a book and she, prepared the day before, the week before, knew all the things that she needed to know to teach and to say in the classroom the next day or the next week. And then she would say the things that she needed to say, and you'd sit there as the student and you would listen to her teach the lesson. You can buy curriculum like that. And a lot of families use that. But we are not like that. We teach our kids very early on to do independent learning. And that is what I graduated with was curriculum like that, where the student is responsible for reading the material, reading the instructions, taking their own quizzes and tests. And you do get it graded by a supervisor or a parent or whatever. Sometimes, not all the time. Even the grading is done by the student when you're doing the independent style or student-led style of curriculum. So that's something you can look at. There's a website, let's see, AOP.com. It's Alpha Omega Publishing.com. And while I'm mentioning that, I have mentioned a couple of curriculums that are Christian-based, and that is what my family uses. That's what I'm familiar with. And I probably should have mentioned that first. Mainly, you're either going to have Christian-based, like a worldview book, or you're going to have a secular. It's either going to be, like no mention of God and faith or anything like that, or it's going to be a Christian-based and you're going to learn things with a biblical perspective. I use Christian as an overview because it may not, if you are Christian, it may not, you may find books that don't exactly line up with your specific type of religion, like, Baptist versus Mormon versus Catholic, all those different things. You have to really look. If you're trying to be specific with your with what your kids are reading and what they're absorbing through their books. You got to see what Bible they're using, if it's a Christian curriculum, or see whether they're using a Bible or not. You know, which way are you wanting to go? Are you wanting secular with no Christian worldview at all? Or, you know, do you want to go the Christian route and you want to make sure they're using the same type of Bible that you use? You got to look at those specifics. When you're doing this, you know, first time and you're not familiar with any curriculum whatsoever, different companies, you're going to have to take some time to do this. So make sure you set some time aside, a day during the week, a couple of nights during the week, a weekend or something to really dig in and look. And you have to like look at all the specifics if you're looking online, or if you can go to a bookstore and find these books, get them down, look at them, look at the details, see what they're using as far as a worldview to make sure that it lines up with what you're looking for. All right, I kind of got off track there. So you're going to look for the worldview. You're going to look to see if it is like a parent-led curriculum or a student-led. And let me show you what that is really quick. I pulled out an old book. We were using BJU, that is Bob Jones University. And like I said, we use Christian-based curriculum for us. I do have some stuff, which I'll show you, that doesn't have anything in it. So I take that back. Not everything is Christian-based. But BJU, this was something that my daughter used last year. And I'm just going to show you an example of a teacher-led curriculum. All right, so this was her science. And this is a lot of different books. And we're missing one. There was also a thing that had tests in it. My screen's kind of fuzzy. A little bit better. All right, so I've got 4 different books here. One of the covers is coming off of one of these. Plus, we had a thing that had tests and quizzes in it. So with this curriculum, you had the book that the student would read out of. And this really reminded me of like the Abeka curriculum that I used in a lot of the private schools that I went to. Then you would have what they call the activity manual. This would be where they would write down their answers and things. They would have the questions based off what they read. And then you have the answer key, to where they were writing down their answers. This was the answer key for that. And then you have the teacher edition. So this is just like the book that they were writing in, but with the answers. And then also, just like you would think of a teacher in a classroom, there were notes on the side. So this was giving you things to say, to discuss, just like you're in a classroom setting. Like it says, this one, discuss that although many animals can have the same instinct, not all animals have the same instincts. They have the instincts necessary to meet their different needs. So this was just giving you extra things as if you were talking to a classroom. And we used this, but we didn't use the teacher stuff. This was mainly just to get the answers. The reason that we used this teacher book. And it came with, well, the CD's not in here, but it had a CD. I gotta find that CD. Had a CD with like extra resources, different like coloring books, or the stuff for the crafts that she would do, or not crafts, like the science activities had different worksheets and things that would go along with that. So this was really kind of like what you would find in a private school setting. You had your books, you had your teacher book, and we have steered away from this type of stuff because we just really don't need all this extra stuff when we are going independent learning style with our kids. Now let me show you what I mean by the student-led independent learning style. We have used 2 different ones that are pretty similar. So this was this was also a 3rd grade. This was last year's stuff. This is Life Pack. And you'll find this on I think this is where I got off track. AOP.com, Alpha Omega Publishing.com. If you'll look at their stuff, this is one of theirs. This is Life Pack. They have a range that goes from like online curriculum to a parent-led curriculum to a student-led curriculum like this. And what I mean by the student-led curriculum is with these, you have little booklets. There are 10 of these little books that the students do to complete the course for the year. And the teacher book is kind of non-existent. This is the teacher book, but all it is the answers, and this is language, so it did have the spelling test in there for you to give. But it's just answers. There's no like explain this, show this, discuss this. There's nothing like that. This is the tests and the answers, and then for English it is because this is English, that also has the spelling list like tests for you to give. So it's the books and it's the answers. There's no teacher. There's no you sitting and explaining things and actually teaching it. They are learning it themselves. They are reading the instructions. By third grade with this curriculum life pack, they lean toward the independent learning on purpose. First and second grade, the teacher book is thicker. I think there was actually 2 teacher books, because there is some of what I was saying, like where you have to explain things, and it will have teacher notes in there in the first and second grade. But then by the time it gets to the third grade, they are supposed to be fully independent, reading all the instructions on their own, checking their work. There is some places where supervisor is supposed to check some of their work, but they're supposed to be mainly independent and be able to do this on their own. So yeah, second grade you had 2 books because there was some explaining that you had to do because you are teaching them to be independent at that point, and then get to the independent point by third grade. So that's what the difference is. You either have it to where you're going to sit and you're going to teach your kids, or you're going to teach them and get them to where they can learn it themselves with minimal effort from you, unless, of course, they get stuck sometimes. We have to help. But we gear toward the independent stuff. My kids can do their work pretty much by themselves on a daily basis. And me check in behind them, make sure that they're getting their stuff checked right, make sure that they're getting weekly things done. But pretty well they can do it by themselves. Another one that has even less of a teacher book. This is ACE. I was going to see if it has a name on it. Accelerated Christian Education. School of Tomorrow. ACE is this brand. And it's very similar to the Life Pack. This one has 12 packets per year for each subject. And you have the score keys. And it is just the answers. Got it upside down. All it is answers. They do the work. They check their work and they move on. They do their tests. It has instructions for them. If you're wondering, like, how do they know these, how do they know what to do? It tells them instructions, like read this, go to the next page. With the ACE, it gives them a spot to, like, it even says right here, like, continue to next page. And then it will tell them where to stop. And the ACE says score instead of check. So it says, score pages 3, 4, and 5. So it tells them what pages to go back and check and make sure it's corrected. And then, you have to do that before you move on. So it gives them the instructions of where to start, stop, what to check, when to check it, when to get a supervisor's initials. There will be, like here, there's a spot at the end of the self-test, at the end of this, before they take the main test, and it says to get your supervisor to initial something, and that would be the parent making sure that they have gotten something done at the end of the book before they move on to the test. So there's prompts for you to help them with things or to check things, but it's mostly independent, and that is what we really like. Let me check my notes here real quick. All right, now kind of some things another thing to look for if you find a curriculum, maybe you're looking for middle school students or, one specific grade, you need to check to make sure, if that's a curriculum that you think you're going to want to stay with, you need to check and make sure that they offer that curriculum for all the grade levels that you're going to need. Not all curriculum is offered for every grade. So, like, for instance, and this is mainly for, I guess, because young kids are not going to be able to do, like, the self-taught or the independent learning style. So, like, our math that we use is called Teaching Textbooks, and it's an online curriculum. It starts at third grade. So, kind of common sense, I guess. You have to teach math to the younger grades. They're not going to, if they can't read and write, they're not going to be able to, read instructions and do all that on their own. So before they get to the independent age, Teaching Textbooks does not offer their curriculum before third grade. So 3rd through 12th grade for Teaching Textbooks. And then there are, let me see. The Good and the Beautiful is one that you may hear a lot about. I hear a lot about that one, and I've been so tempted to try it, but it's not quite on that independent style learning that we like. But they only offer, like, their math right now goes from kindergarten to 7th grade. I think they're working on having math for the older grades, but I'm not 100% on that. That's something that you'd have to look at. So you need to check if you find a curriculum and you really, really love it. Just be prepared that you might not be able to use it all the way up through high school. One of the curriculums that you'll find on the AOP website is Monarch, and that's their online curriculum. Just like the teaching textbooks, it only starts at 3rd grade. And it's just random curriculum. Sometimes I'll find they won't have some of the elementary stuff, or they'll stop at like 7th or 8th grade and they don't even do high school. That what I was saying, the Monarch, the online, and with the teaching textbooks, there are some curriculums that are fully online. So you have to think, is that something that you're going to want? And how would that work on a daily basis for you? Are your kids going to be at home connected to the Wi-Fi every day in and out? So that would be, okay for y'all? Do you have, a setup where they would have a computer or tablet or something to do their curriculum on every day online? Or are you on the move a lot? Do you not have access to Wi-Fi? And you would be more comfortable in knowing that they could get it done if they had, like physical books. We do teaching textbooks online. I let the kids do some stuff on like apps, but we are mostly books right now. We have not went totally online because I still like them having textbooks. I don't know, I'm kind of old-fashioned, but I like the textbooks. If you are brand new and this is really overwhelming, you can get all of one curriculum for every subject. There are plenty of curriculums that offer, you'll see, like it'll say a core package or a core package plus. You could go look, I don't know, a bunch of different ones. You could go to like BJU, ACE, Life Pack. We did it with Becca when I started with my daughter with kindergarten and 1st grade. I bought the full grade level. It's expensive when you go that route. You start piecing stuff together, you can save money, which is what we do this year. Like every subject almost is a different curriculum, different company. But at the beginning, I kind of encourage using all one curriculum because it's easier on your brain to not have to keep up with, different books, different teacher books, different answer books, all that kind of stuff. If you're brand new to it, I would say try to pick most of all of one curriculum for every subject, just so you're familiar with it. And then once you get comfortable with teaching it and learning your kid's style, you can branch off and try new things, look at different books. Don't just go by what somebody else says, because somebody else's kid is not your kid. Somebody else doesn't teach and their brain does not work the same way that you will teach and your brain works. Just like everybody has a different learning style, you're going to have a different teaching style. So don't just go by, if you've got a friend that's homeschooling and they say, well, we use this and it works great. Don't think that it's going to work great for you. You've got to try new things. The Life Pack, like I showed you, I don't know if I showed you this big box. You can get all the different subjects: math, language, science, history, Bible, and then electives in high school. So my first year, let's see, when we came back to homeschooling after 2020, when they were sent home for 2 weeks and never went back, we did all Life Pack for my 1st grader. She was in kindergarten when the pandemic hit and came home in kindergarten. So then we started homeschooling and she was 1st grade. So we did 1st grade all Life Pack, every single one of them, because I wasn't familiar with what her learning style was. And we were also juggling one parent working, one parent being at home, and trying to teach a kid that was still in the process of learning reading and writing. So I stuck with one thing altogether. We did that for 1st grade, and then by 2nd grade we branched off with different subjects to different curriculums, but we still stuck with Life Pack with some things. Like this is 3rd grade, so we stayed with Life Pack language until 3rd grade. And I slowly moved away as I learned my husband's teaching style. If you know our backstory, he stays home with them, so he did most of my 2nd daughter's schooling with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade when she finally was more independent. So his teaching style is completely different than my teaching style. But this was the compromise. We did all the subjects in this curriculum at that first year that we were back with doing the homeschool with her, just because I didn't know what to do. And it was easier to get all of one thing so that he knew exactly, this is what the books are going to look like. This is what the teacher books look like. And every subject is the same. You had the 10 little books and you had the teacher book, and he knew what to look for. So that was a little bit easier for him, knowing that it was all the same. And when I started homeschooling my oldest daughter the first time, kindergarten, 1st grade, and I did a Becca, like I say, I bought the whole kit. A Becca is expensive. I'm telling you, I don't think I couldn't do that now. I'm looking at different routes. I've got a 2-year-old. My youngest is 2 now. So I'm already thinking like stuff to start getting him to start teaching at 3 and 4 years old so that we can ease into the, you know, learning how to read and write and just go ahead and get him familiar with it. I'm not doing the Abeka for him. I'm not saying Abeka is not a good curriculum. It was what I used myself in the several of the private schools that I went to growing up, and it's a good curriculum. I think it's a good curriculum, but it's just not our style. We don't sit and teach like a teacher in a classroom, and so buying that curriculum doesn't work for us anymore. I did sit and teach my daughter when we did that for her for kindergarten and first, so I did use the teacher prompts and all that with her, but we wouldn't do that now because that's just not where we are in our life right now. A term that you will come across is scope and sequence, and that is, let me find... I just got this catalog in the mail for MasterBooks. It just come in the mail today. I saw it when I got home. I already had planned on doing this video, had my notes, and I was like, well, how cool is that? All right, so scope and sequence. If you are looking at a curriculum, you think you like it, try to find their scope and sequence. And what that is it tells you what books they offer, what subjects, for which subjects and for which grades. So like what this tells me right here in the MasterBooks scope and sequence for math, it tells me for first of all, this tells me right here that they start in first grade, that I assume they don't offer a kindergarten curriculum, or either it's just not on the scope and sequence. I'm not sure. I think they do have some kindergarten stuff, but you'd have to, you know, look at a catalog or go online. But for the scope and sequence, it starts at first grade and it goes all the way to 12th grade, and it tells you what they offer. So for first grade here, it says math lessons for living education 1 through 6. So that's what they offer for 1st through 6th grade. And then over here, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, it says for 7th and 8th, it says principles of mathematics 1 and 2. So that's what they offer for 7th and 8th grade. And then 9th grade is elementary algebra. 10th grade, sorry, that's fuzzy. 10th grade is geometry, and then 11th and 12th grade is algebra 2. Sorry, that was really all over the place. But it does that for every subject. So we got math here. We've got language arts, history, science, and then electives. And they even have electives starting in the first grade. They have something that they offer. And this just tells you everything that they offer for all these grades for all the different subjects. And you can usually find that for most of the curriculums, especially the curriculums that offer something for every grade level. I know I look at ACE's scope and sequence quite a bit just to kind of look to see like what they're teaching in the different grades, to make sure that I'm lining up, especially when I'm piecing together stuff, to make sure that I'm kind of staying where I want to as far as teaching them what the normal is for their specific grade, for that specific subject, if that makes sense. So that just tells you what the curriculums are teaching at the different grade levels for the different subjects. Something that you need to look for, no matter what curriculum you're using, you need to make sure that you have all the required books. So, and you don't have to have all the books. So they may offer like lab books or different activity books, map books, extra workbooks, extra problem practice books. You got the teacher books, you've got answer keys. In elementary, if you don't have to turn in, and this goes back to checking your state's laws, in North Carolina, we don't have to turn in like a yearly, we don't have to turn in like a yearly sample of their work. We do have to do the yearly state mandated tests, but we don't have to turn in like grades for middle school down. We do keep a transcript for the high school, but tests are not even mandatory. Like until we start 9th grade, I don't even have to keep up with their grades. There's no transcript required or anything like that. So them taking tests is not even necessary. I do the tests and quizzes, but like I say, it's not even necessary. So if you don't want to buy like this, where I had all these different books, plus I had the test book that is still thrown in the closet somewhere, you don't have to get every single one of these, but you do need to make sure you've got the ones you need. So if you, most of the time you're going to need the answer key, unless you just feel really confident. I did that one year, I think, with the Bible curriculum for like her 1st or 2nd grade. I didn't get the answer key because I was like, well, this is such simple, Bible questions. It's just the simple Bible stories, and I'm not going to need the answer key for that. I needed the answer key. About 3 or 4 weeks in, I figured I needed the answer key and had to order it because it just helped my brain to not have to sit there and think of things, because there was actually some questions that were kind of hard. But anyway, I would say get the answer key. If anything, the student books and the answer keys, but different subjects have different things. Like say you get like extra activities or like extra practice workbooks, and that is totally up to you and your student what you think they need. But like if you weren't going to do the tests, you leave the test book off. If you don't want them to do the activities, you don't want them, writing and doing anything, you just want them to read the book, you could just order the book and you can make up your own questions. This is just the information. They read the books. It's got the activities. Like that was an activity right there for them to do with this science. If you want to just be reading this aloud with your kids and discussing it and making sure that they're remembering it by having the discussions, do that. You don't have to get every single one of these books. It'll come where you can order it as a set and it'll get all those books, but make sure you look to see if you can order them individually if that's what you want to do, and do that. You don't have to buy all the books. Let's see. When you are in the high school level, you need to check to see how many credits your book is going to give you, or that specific curriculum. So for North Carolina, and every state is different, check your state, you either get a credit by completing a course, or you get a credit by logging the hours. So a certain amount of hours would be 1 credit for the year, or if you finish a book and you can say that is your credit for the year. So when you're looking online or wherever, if you're looking at the book itself, usually somewhere it'll tell you what you're going to give your student credit for. Like if you're going to get 1 English credit for something, or if you're taking a combo, if you're getting a book that's like a combo credit. Notgrass History, I don't think I've mentioned them yet, but Notgrass History is a combo curriculum. So it's history, but you can also get like a literature or an English credit. You can get a geography credit. Each book is different, but with the high school, it'll tell you. You can look that up online, notgrasshistory.com. I'll put a link in the description box. We've used them for several years. They have different activities that you can do at the end of each lesson. And if you do all of the whatever certain activities, like you do all the literature stuff, they have books that go along with it. If you do the essay writing, if you do, like the geography, there's workbooks, geography workbooks. If you do all that extra stuff, you get extra credits. So you don't just get a history credit. So make sure you look at the, read all the descriptions of the books that you're getting, the curriculums that you're getting, to see what credits you're going to get for completing that, and make sure if it's a full credit or a half credit, so that you know to put that down in your transcript for your student. One thing that I just ordered today, actually, I already ordered a bunch of curriculum for next year, for the 2024-2025 school year. That sounds crazy. But I ordered an elective for my rising 10th grader. She's going to be doing a music. Well, I think she is. I'm going to hang on to it. She can do it this coming year, or I'll hang on to it for the next year. But it is a half credit. So normally it's an ACE curriculum. Normally they have 12 of these little booklets that they have to complete in a year to get 1 full credit. But that one is only 6 books. So it's going to be a half credit. So I'll know to put a half credit for that elective on her transcript. If you can find a place nearby to you where you can look at books, that would be really, really helpful. We have a bookstore that's it's a little bit a ways from me, but I do like to usually go once a year. Even if I don't buy anything from them, I'll go and look. I don't think I have yet to not buy anything from them. I do get something usually when we stop by there to look. But it's a Bible bookstore or a Christian bookstore that offers the homeschool material, and we can go up there and they let you open the books and look at it. So that's really helpful. My oldest daughter likes to go up there and look and see the curriculum and look at their other books too. But I like to look at it and see, now that I'm more familiar with it. Every year I get more and more comfortable with it, more familiar. But I like to look at the books and see what it's going to look like every day. If you have seen any of my review videos or the flip throughs, I look at it and I say, okay, what are they going to do on day 1? And I'll open the book up as if I'm the student, and I'll say, I'll read it, lesson 1, day 1, it says to go to this page on this book. So I'll open it up and I'll look at it, and I just see what it's going to look like for them to do their work with that book on day 1. And I'll go into day 2 and just see if it's going to be really confusing or really not fit the way that we do school, our independent learning style. If it's going to be like 5 different books that they're having to shuffle through, that may be a no-go. I don't know. I like to see the books. I like to flip through them and see how hard it's going to be or how easy it's going to be, what the books look like, if they're color. if they're black and white, if my kids are going to look at these and say, oh, this is ugly and boring and I don't like it. So if you can find a place that's near you, you know, Google homeschool curriculum, Google Maps or something, homeschool curriculum near me, or homeschool consignment curriculum. Like there's some stores near where I work that I have yet to go visit them, but it's because it's a little ways away from work, and work is a little ways away from home. So I've yet to do it, but it's like a consignment store for homeschool curriculum. Just look it up, see if there's anything in your area where you can go and look yourself, you know, look at the books in person and see what they look like. And that will help you get an even clearer picture when you're looking at books online. Something that I didn't quite mention, you can buy curriculum. You can, you know, buy the books. You can buy an online subscription and your kids can do everything completely online. Or you don't have to buy curriculum at all. There is a website. I think it's called Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschooling. And I have yet to use it. I've looked at it, I don't know how many times, but I've not actually jumped in and used it yet. I've looked at it a lot, but it is free homeschooling material and it's online. So what it is like I don't know if it's one individual or if it was a couple or a group, but some people got together and they made a curriculum. I think it's kindergarten through 12th grade. Don't quote me on that. You'll have to go look at it yourself. I'll put the link in the description. But they have put together like different subjects for different grades. And it gives you the complete lesson plan for the year, or the schedule for the year for your student to follow. And it'll say, you know, day 1, go to this website and read this material. And then go to this PDF, print this PDF, answer these questions. Like it gives you the whole layout for a subject for the full year without having to buy a textbook. It's all online. The websites are supposed to be secure. It says that they've went through and checked all the websites to make sure that they're safe. PDF downloads for questions and answers. Just they laid it all out and it's free. But I have yet to use it. If you have used that, let me know how it's worked out for you. Yeah, unless your state actually mandates the specific curriculum, and I have yet to find that, you don't actually have to buy a curriculum. You can piece together things. You can buy, like this is what I did for my daughter's spelling for this year. This was a book I bought off of Amazon. It does not have tests in it. It does not have, you know, it's not like a teacher answering question book. It's not even, it's more of like an activity book. But it has a spelling list, and then you have like 5 or 6 pages of things to do for that specific spelling list. I think this had like 12 different lists. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. No, 11. 11 different sets of words, and I'm making her do 1 page a day. This was something I bought off of Amazon. It is not a curriculum. It is not like a full-blown, you know, where you can buy every subject from this company. This was just a spelling book that I bought to go along with her English. She's doing ACE English this year, but I also bought that spelling book because I just thought it would be a little bit extra help for her. You can piece together stuff like that. Once you get more comfortable with it, if you're a teacher yourself and you're going to start homeschooling your kids and you already know all this stuff about a curriculum, you can probably piece together stuff yourself and know that you've taught your kid what they need to know by the end of the year. And then I guess lastly, my advice would be to watch other YouTube channels. You know, spend some time watching people review things, do flip-throughs. I've got a whole playlist of flip-throughs where I try to go through the book and show you exactly what it's going to look like, you know, what the students are going to see, how the answer keys are laid out, you know, what the day by day is going to be. Find other homeschool channels on here that do flip-throughs of curriculum and explain how it works. Just get comfortable with it. Take some time, do your research, order stuff. If you can't get your hands on it in a store before you order it, go ahead and order it. Make sure you can return it if it's not going to work out for you. And just look at it. Give yourself some time. Don't rush to the last minute to order your stuff, and you know, then be starting your school late and be all stressed out. Go ahead and get a head start. If you're starting this next school year, now would be a good time. There's some places doing sales. Christianbook.com is where I ordered today, and I order from them every year. They they had a code for free shipping. I don't know if I can share that or if you can just find it when you go to their website. I think they were offering it to everybody, but just go to christianbook.com. And you can dig through all kinds of curriculum. You can look by subject, by grade, by company. Just take some time and do some research. And that's all I can say. The more you get comfortable with it, the more familiar you get. More years go by that you are purchasing curriculum and your kids are using it, you're going to get more comfortable with it, and you'll know a little bit more of what you like, and it'll be easier for you to pick curriculum. Like this year, it was a whole lot quicker for me to decide what I was going to get. Our biggest issue is me now asking my kids what they want to learn. My rising fifth grader wants to learn about ocean animals. So we ordered, I think it was MasterBooks, and I'll have a video up in the next few weeks of what we picked for next school year, or maybe next few months. I don't know. I'll try to get it up pretty soon once I get everything. But it's, I think it's MasterBooks Zoology 2, and it's all about marine life. So she's really excited about that. And then I've got my oldest daughter, my rising 10th grader. She's going to be helping me pick out her curriculum. But the other stuff, the stuff that I knew that they were going to do certain curriculum for certain subjects, I knew exactly what I wanted. I know what companies I like. I know what works for us. And I was able to just go in, get it while it was on sale with free shipping and order it today and get over and done with. And it'll be here in a couple of days. So yeah, just do your research. Know that it's going to take time. And if you got any questions, reach out to me, reach out to other YouTubers that do this stuff. There are people who have a lot more experience than I do. Ask questions. There are no stupid questions. We are all learning, and I think any YouTuber would appreciate questions on their videos, and that's what they're there for. So reach out, find other videos, find people that are doing flip-throughs, and just take some time, do some research, get more comfortable with it. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please, please, please ask, and I will be happy to help if I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer, and maybe we can try to look into find that answer together. Sorry, this video was a little bit longer than normal, but hopefully it helped, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.